Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, everybody. Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome.
Now listening to the Alice and Denise podcast.
Alice and Denise, A-D-A-D, the petite powerhouse, A-D, always 100. You can like it or not. She don't mind pushing buttons all up in your hot spots. Crock pot cooking, damn. And she good looking, hold up, brains and beauty, raising awareness. Certified therapist, but much better prepared with it. Check her portfolio, it's accredited. Like, subscribe, follow, share it. Roll out the red carpet for the queen, and welcome to the show. Peace and blessings. Alice and Denise, A-D-A-D.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is relationship coach and the petite powerhouse, Alice and Denise, and you are tuned into the Alice and Denise podcast, where we answer your dating and relationship questions right here live every week. Welcome. I hope everybody is having a wonderful afternoon. Shout out to those of you who are watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch Live. We truly appreciate it. And special shout out to those of you who are choosing to watch us while you're at work. For those of you who might be watching and listening, openly with speakers, I'll do my best to tone down the Sunday school language just for you. Again, I am Alice and Denise, and every Tuesday, what we do is take questions that you guys have sent us either from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or email at the adpodcast2020@gmail.com. We take those questions, we come up with 4 or 5 or 3 or 4, depending on how long we think they may be, and we come right here and answer them. So those of you who are interested in having your own question answered, please feel free to reach out to us. You can use any method that you're currently seeing on the screen right now. Feel free to connect with us through either method, through all methods, and know that you can go ahead and send your requests either publicly or privately through any of those channels, okay? Let's see what we have in terms. Oh, what's up, Kathy? Good to see you, sis. I'm so glad you were able to catch us. Thank you so much. All right, so what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start by reading some questions. I'll start off with our first one. We do have something that we're going to do a little different, and I decided to save it for the end. So we're going to, answer and ask our questions, and then I want to talk about something that I saw literally yesterday, like three separate screenshots that I just want to discuss because all of them are crazy. They're crazy, and I want us to talk about it. What's up, Marionette? Good to see you, lady. So let's go ahead and get into the questions. Where did I put them? All right, here we go. All right, so we are starting with question 1. Question 1 is an anonymous regular follower who asked me 2 questions through Facebook. So I'm going to go ahead and ask question 1, and then their second question is the one we're going to answer next. So this gentleman wanted to know if I believe in the concept of love at first sight. That was the first question. Do you believe in love at first sight? You ready today, huh? Peace and blessings, Gregorio. Good to see you, bro. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. So to answer this brother's question, if I believe in the concept of love at first sight. So the answer that I'm going to give is yes. Most people who know me wouldn't be surprised. Of course, she believes in love at first sight. She's a hopeless romantic, and all of that is true. But the reason I actually do believe in that concept is because I'm seeing something not right with my camera. Give me a second. Okay. The reason I actually believe in that concept is because you have to remember, people try to come up with very deep ways to explain what love is. Love is a verb. Love is a decision, not a feeling, and all that other stuff. But, the bigger thing is love is energy. Love is energy and connection. And so I've heard a lot of people, myself included, all of us have at least one friend. Follow me. We have at least one friend where we met them maybe in line. Maybe we met them in line, or we met them while discussing something. We might have met them in a class. We might have met them at church. We might have met them at work. And we're so close to them now that we really have to think about where, at what point were they not in my life? How did I meet them? What was the first time that we connected? And some people who can remember, they say, oh, we just became friends instantly. I don't even remember when we weren't friends. I met her, or, brothers will say, well, I met him and we just kind of just ended up together. So as far-fetched as it may sound to those who don't necessarily believe in the concept of love at first sight, if you can have an instant connection with someone on a friendship level, why is it so impossible to believe that you could have an instant connection with someone romantically? Now, yes, there's a different level of feelings that are involved and a different level of vulnerability that's going to come in some instances, because most of us are not having sex with our best friend. And I get that. But initially, if you can have an instant connection with someone on a friendship level, I believe you can absolutely have a connection with someone on a romantic level. I think it depends on whether both people are willing to acknowledge the connection. That is one of the issues that I see happen sometimes. Both people are aware of the connection. One person may be willing to move towards it, but the other person may start using all of these different, what's the word I'm looking for? Parameters, qualifiers, looking for a reason why the connection can't necessarily be what it is, because it doesn't make logical sense. And, I firmly think that, the type of love waiting for me, at least, I don't think it's going to be the type of love that's going to make sense. It's either going to be something that is, right there in front of my eyes and I don't see it and then it just happens, or it's just going to be a connection. And I have seen that happen with various other people. I know it's possible. I think anything is possible as long as you don't start looking for reasons why it's too soon or too late or too much or too little. And I think that it's possible if both people are willing to give it a shot. If both people are willing to say, okay, this feels different, but I like it, so I just want to move forward. And I think, unfortunately, what sometimes happens is a lot of us do meet love that could be healthy, love that could be, beneficial to both parties. But usually one or both people have been hurt so much that they feel like the wise thing to do is slow down. Well, I was hurt before, so let me slow this one down. You don't need to slow down what's in front of your face because of what's gone. I think that's what people sometimes don't understand. You going super slow or very slow or a little slow or kind of slow for any reason not related to the connection that you're dealing with right now, you're self-sabotaging. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a difference between, let's say, someone who may have been abused in a previous relationship, was someone physically abused in a previous relationship, was someone, if you went through an actual traumatic event in a previous relationship, I totally understand the concept of going slow, but a lot of that going slow needs to be done alone, because the going slow is still you learning to trust your own instincts again, along with getting rid of unrealistic expectations. And what I mean by that is, once we're hurt, we sometimes go into the mindset of we don't want to be with anybody who could hurt us. But you're an imperfect person, and at best, you're going to be dealing with an imperfect person who just is a better fit for you, but still imperfect. So a lot of times we're walking around looking for perfection. We're looking for someone who won't hurt us because we don't like that feeling, right? We don't like how it feels to be hurt. We don't like the feeling of, giving our all to somebody and having it used against us. Our ego will sometimes get involved, and we just flat out we don't want to look weak. We don't want to look stupid. We don't want to get played. All of those mindsets are ego-based. Those are saying, I just don't want to give any impression that I am less than or not as smart as or weaker than. And sometimes we go in with these unrealistic expectations, and we can have a great connection, but we're still, well, I'm waiting to see this, and this person must do this, and I have to think about this, and, maybe this time I might need to go this. And there's a difference between wisdom and stalling. So I find that a lot of people who don't believe in the concept of love at first sight, they tend to be more on the side of stalling than wisdom. You can be very wise, very open, very vulnerable, and connect with someone very quickly and it work. It doesn't make you move. It doesn't mean you're moving too fast. That's society. It doesn't mean that you're not looking at everything with your eyes wide open. That there's a difference between an instant connection and infatuation. And some of us have to learn the difference. And so a lot of people who have not learned that difference, we tend to err on the side of slow and wait. And we have, some people who are dating people for months but don't want to acknowledge that it's an actual relationship. Oh, well, we're just friends. We're seeing where it goes. You got to be careful with those see where it goes people. If they can't give a real reason for why they want to see where it goes, they're stalling. And it doesn't matter if they're stalling because they're still in love with someone else, or if they're stalling because they're not sure they want to be in a relationship. They're stalling, and stalling by default is wasting your time. So love at first sight is a thing. It exists. There's no need to tell me that it doesn't, because I've met people, and I'm sure you've met people who said that it was love at first sight, and they're still together. And for those who say, yeah, but sometimes you can go so fast that you can break up, that's true. But as I said 2 or 3 episodes ago, I have actually dated someone who dated someone for 8 years, and they couldn't make it through year 1 of marriage. So time doesn't dictate the success of a relationship. The people in the relationship consistently choosing to work on the relationship and choose each other every day, that's what determines the success of the relationship. So if both people are willing to go for it on day 1 with the realization there's still things I need to learn about him, and there's still things I need to learn about her, but for whatever reason I want to stick and stay and learn these things, there is a chance they can make it. And if they don't make it, it won't be because they move too fast. It'll be because they realized very quickly that there was a couple of things that maybe were impasses or non-negotiables that they couldn't overcome. But why not find that out in 2 weeks instead of pussyfooting around for 2 months or 2 years? That doesn't make sense. So that's my take. Let me see what everybody else has to say. Gregorio says, oh, what's up, Dwayne? Lust at first sight is a thing too. What's up, Mr. Mario J? Tough Love Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. And like my brother said, if you guys would, please like and share the video. If you think I'm going to say something that will help other people, please send it over to your timeline, any groups that you think would benefit from it, just anywhere. And I will truly appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brother Mario. Dwayne says, instantaneous friendships are usually rooted in a common appreciation of something, a lot easier to identify and accept. Very true. And you don't have the romantic element. Tanya says, what's up, lady? Good to see you. Xavier, peace and blessings. Good to see you. Well, what if it's a stalemate on an apology? Can you explain that a little bit? I'll be happy to answer that. Just clarify what you mean. Tanya said, I dated my ex-husband for 5 years and we split and divorced at the end of the first. See what I'm saying? All I'm saying is people determine the success of that relationship. Yes, life can happen. Situations can come up. I understand that. But at the end of the day, those 2 people determine the success of that relationship. Time is just what we use to feel more comfortable about our decision. But time is not necessary in the eyes of love. Love is already there. That time is how long is it going to take you to see it, accept it, and be willing to work for it. That's where we get the disconnect. Tanya says, spent the second trying to divorce. I'm very sorry to hear that. But can I take credit? Can you take credits? I can. Okay, so that's how it's gonna be today. All right, that's cool. All right, so that is the end of the first question. So let me go to the brother's second question. So the second question he asked was, do you still feel butterflies when you love or are attracted to someone? And so I think what this brother was looking for was, I think he wanted to get a gauge for if there are still people out here who believe in, I guess, what people are calling old school. And it's not old school. It's just another mindset with dating that doesn't seem to be shared with as many younger people as it used to be. I don't necessarily know that it's old school though. But I think what he was wanting to do was see if he could find out, hey, are there people who think like I do about love? Are there people who believe in connection like I do? Are there people, who still get excited and all that other stuff? And so, the answer that I have to this one also is yes. I still light up when I'm around the person that I'm into, and I still get all giggly and warm and fuzzy and hell, I've had I've had some friends in the past few months who said that they could tell, that they could tell if I was, dating someone that I was really enjoying because I was giggly on the phone with them. So like when I'm into a person, I'm into them, and when they give off great energy and are awesome with affection and all of those good things, like it brings out a different side of me. And I think that there are a lot of people who have that happen. You glow different, you smile different, you see the world different. You want to communicate in a better way. You want to learn more about the person that you're with. You enjoy the affection and the cuddling, and when you see them and they're looking at you the way that you're looking at them, yeah, I still get those butterflies. I still, if it's someone I'm attracted to, I still get excited when I know we're about to kiss, or when I see their name pop up on my phone or their photo if they're calling me. I'm a straight girl. I'm the most stereotypical, giggly, soft woman ever when I'm into you. Now, when I'm not, you get what you get. Let me see what everybody else has to say. Let's see. What's up, Corel? Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. It's brown liquor time. Let's see here. I cut off a woman that wanted to take it slow, aka stalling last week. Congratulations, and I'm proud of you. Let's see here. Dwayne says, feelings can betray you. Use logic before getting emotions involved. So there is a place for logic. The problem is logic can cause you to stall too. And there are a lot of brothers who have lost out on good women for using more logic than emotion. You have to remember, at the end of the day, relationships, love, devotion, connection, all of those energies are emotion and divine feminine based. We all have divine masculine and divine feminine qualities in each of us. And what we should all be striving to do is reach balance. The best way to reach balance is to also have balance in other areas of our lives. So while there is a place to have the divine masculine, which is what logic is, it falls on the side of, romance, connection, engagement, emotion, affection, attention, communication, all of those things are emotional. And there are too many people who err on the side of logic, and it's usually because of fear, which is based on a previous situation. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that we can't learn from the lessons in our mistakes that we've made with other people. But when we hold our current situation hostage because of those previous mistakes, under the guise of logic, you're stalling. There's no other way around it. You're stalling. It may feel like the right thing to do because you have walked with you and you have gone through your experience and it makes total sense to you. But we have to remember that a relationship involves two people. And one of the biggest issues that I see in some relationships or connections that could work but don't is both people are trying to make their mindset, their experience, and their past mistakes and hurts, they're trying to make that the number one goal in this new thing. So you have one person who wants to, well, I'm not doing this, and I'm not saying this, and I'm not going here, and I'm not going there, and I'm going to look for this, 82-page Rolodex of signs that I missed in previous relationships. And then they're dating a person who's either doing the same, or someone who is healed, someone who is ready to love, and someone who sees the good in that person. And it on the other side of that, it can feel like the person who is open and vulnerable and willing to give love a shot. Because remember, both of these people have probably been hurt. You just have one person who has made a decision that they would rather move forward in good, what's the word I want to use? One person may have decided, I want to move forward and look at things in a positive way. I want to take the lessons without using them as excuses to stay closed off. That person can sometimes feel like they're going through a lot of unnecessary tests that they didn't fail based off of what someone else before them did. And it can feel like those tests are never going to end. And that's where you start getting the wearing down. That's where you start getting the lack of interest. That's where you start seeing the communication fall off. So all I'm saying is that there has to be balance. Moving towards logic is always going to feel better, because logic doesn't make you vulnerable, right? It doesn't make you want to communicate. Logic doesn't say open up and express your feelings. Logic doesn't say trust this person with a secret. Logic doesn't say that. Logic is very self-protective. Self-protection feels great when you've been hurt. It means no one else can hurt you. The problem is no one else can love you either. So logic does have its place, but it has to absolutely, positively be balanced out with emotion. And you can't have a relationship without both of those being in the equation. Tanya says, so he was crazy. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I have some crazy in my past as well. I get it. Peace and blessings, prolific she. Good to see you, sis. I caught you. I tuned in. Oh, you tuned in on the panel. Thank you. But I believe comments were turned off. They were. I thoroughly enjoyed you. Thank you so much. And this is probably a good place to stop since she brought that up. So one of the things that I want to make sure you guys are aware of are different things that are going on where Allison Denise is going to be, some things that you can participate in. And one of the things that Prolific She was talking about is this event here. This event is called Love and Sip, and it is going to be held on Valentine's Day in the afternoon. I love that, because those singles who are coming, or the singles who may want to come, you still have your evening free. So you still have time to have that Valentine's Day date or that Valentine's night date. This is a daytime event, but we are going to be right here in Dallas. We're going to be off of North Irvay on the 17th floor. All of the information should be right here listed. And yours truly was added last week as the resident relationship coach. And so what we're going to do, we're going to do something a little bit different. Every one of you who are enjoying the Allison Denise podcast, you'll be able to get a live version. So yes, I'll be coming forward with a brief topic to discuss for everyone who's coming out that day. But what we're also going to do is a live version of the Allison Denise podcast. So all of you who tune in and then decide to purchase your tickets, all of you who decide to purchase your tickets, you're going to get a chance to write down a question. And the host for the afternoon, my brother RJ, he's actually going to read the questions to me, and I'm going to answer the questions right there live. So if they're personal, make sure they're anonymous. If you have a spat that you want to settle between you and your boo while you're there, go ahead and ask me. And so I think it's going to be a cool event. There's going to be music. There's going to be live music. There's going to be instruments. There's going to be food. There's going to be drinks. And I don't drink, so you can have whatever was set aside for me. I don't know. But we do have that going on the 14th. I do want you guys to Please make the plan to come in. I'm going to copy this really quick into the comments so that you guys have the link. Please feel free to go ahead and send the link to other people that you think may want to participate, and purchase your ticket. They're much cheaper if you buy them online than if you decide to wait and buy them at the door. Okay, so just want to give that heads up. But I'm so glad that Prolific was able to listen to the panel that I was on this past Sunday where we were talking about all this, and I hope a lot of you from the Allison Denise podcast and the Allison Denise camp, if you were in or near Dallas, I hope you'll go ahead and purchase a ticket so that you can show support. Okay. All right, so let me start back with the comments here. Gregorio says, when those butterflies fade, should you be concerned or worried? No, not necessarily. If the butterflies fade, but you find that you are still content with that person, then it could just mean that you're one of those people who settles into what's known as the you've gotten out of the honeymoon phase. So you may be someone who goes from phases, and now you're at the phase where you know that this is where you want to be, this is who you want to be with, and you're just content. Now, when the butterflies stop, one of the things that I strongly suggest to people who fall into this category, it may feel like you're having to do more effort now to do certain things. So because you're content in your mind, you may not necessarily need your partner to do the things that they did in the beginning. In your mind, a lot of people in this mindset may say, well, no, they don't have to do all that stuff for me. I don't need that. This is who I want. This is where I want to be, and I'm good. Where we make the mistake, though, is we start to love our partners the way that we want our partners to love us. So, specifically speaking in terms of love language and stuff like that, if someone were to be content, this is where I want to be. I don't want to date nobody else. I don't want to be with nobody else. I'm ready to get married. I'm ready to settle down. This is who I want. As you're settling in, if you happen to still be, if you're settling in and you're getting content with someone whose love language is touch, they're very affectionate, and maybe you were super affectionate with them when y'all first started dating, but now you're content. You don't need all that affection. So what people will sometimes do is not give as much affection to their partner, because in their mind, since they don't need as much, that must mean their partner doesn't need as much, and your partner may still need the same amount the whole time y'all are together. That doesn't make them needy or clingy. That's just one of their actual needs. So if you happen to be someone who doesn't keep butterflies, it doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship is over. It doesn't necessarily mean that you no longer are into your spouse or your partner. It just means that you may be someone who settles into relationships. Just remember to continue to love your partner the way that you did in the beginning. It may feel like more effort now because in your mind, oh, this is so much work. We're together now. But keep in mind, the stuff that you did is what got you to this position. So that's what may be required to keep everything as it is. Now, if you were someone who was still wondering, well, I don't know though. I mean, I was so happy with them, and now I just don't feel the excitement like I used to feel it. Now you want to start looking at other areas of the relationship. You can stop feeling butterflies and also have someone try to, approach you romantically, and you're just not interested. Now, if you don't have butterflies, but you notice that you're kind of excited about getting attention from other people, you're not in a huge rush to maybe get home or to go out with them, you don't have the butterflies in your stomach anymore, and you don't seem to mind going a couple of days not speaking to them, that's when you may want to reevaluate whether this is where you want to be. Okay? What's up, Tate? Bad Squad in the house. What's up, David? David says, what's the difference between stalling and being patient? Okay. So the difference between stalling and being patient is going to be based off the person who's doing it. So you have to ask yourself one very major question. let's say somebody really close to you asks you about this person. Let's say you're dating someone named, I don't know, let's just say her name is Tiffany, okay? So you're dating someone named Tiffany, and one of your close friends says, hey, how are you and Tiffany doing? And you happen to say something to the effect of, oh, we're good. I'm just taking things slow, just seeing where it goes. But let's say your friend knows your past. So your friend may say, okay, well, what are they doing that's causing you to take it slow? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Are you taking it slow because of something the current person is doing? Or are you taking it slow because of what you've gone through in the past? If you're taking it slow because of what someone is currently doing, then you're being patient and you're waiting things out. But if you get real quiet and real honest with yourself, and everything that you come up with when you talk about why you want to go slow, if it always goes back to the past, you're stalling. You're looking at that new person through the eyes of your old pain, your old, what you perceive to be failures or mistakes. You're looking at that new person through old eyes, and you're never going to be able to embrace the new person, because now you're trying to make sure you don't go through old stuff, forgetting that you're not even the same person you were when you went through the old stuff. So you're trying to go back to an old version of you that doesn't even exist anymore with a new person who doesn't even know that person. And that's when the stalling starts. Well, let me wait for this, and let me do this, and let me do. You're stalling if any reason for slowing down with that new person is based off old stuff. You're stalling and you're looking for an excuse. Let me know if that helps. Tate says, dope. Well, thank you. Well, peace and blessings, Aaron. Good to see you. Hey, Jacquelinetta. Good to see you, sis. And we have Nancy Williams. Oh, it's red. You gonna stop with all these random names, sis. But it's good to see you. All right, I think Xavier gave a clarification. So what if an apology is in order and they don't think it necessary to apologize or feel it necessary, but you think acknowledgement and conversation is also in order, but they only want your forgiveness? As a Christian, what should you do? Is it forgive and move on, or forgive and what? Okay. So here's the way that I would answer this. There are people who don't know how to apologize. They're some of the most frustrating people in the world, actually. But there are people who don't know how to apologize. Now, some don't know how to apologize because they sincerely don't know how to do it. These will be people who will do things like I had a gentleman several years ago who said something that just pissed me all the way off. And at that time, he didn't know how to apologize. But he knew I like cars. He knew I like muscle cars. So once I came back in the room, he started trying to show me different drag races, or, maybe a Hemi engine against a big block Chevy engine, all types of stuff like that. That was his way of trying to break the ice and say, I messed up. I just don't want you mad at me anymore. Let me find something that I know you like that will hopefully calm you down. There's a difference between that person, though, and someone who can apologize but just refuses to do so because they don't like to be wrong. So in their mind, apology is acknowledgement that they've made a mistake, and they refuse to acknowledge that they've made a mistake. So you have to think about which person you're dealing with. Now, inevitably, you can handle both of these people both ways. That's completely up to you. And it's my opinion that when it comes to relationships, I wouldn't necessarily put any type of religion in the equation, because even though, based off your question, you're asking about Christian perspective, I respect that. But when you're dealing with people, you have to learn how to deal with people where people are. And you don't want to use religion to either beat them over the head, nor do you want to use religion as a reason to stay in a situation that's not good for you. You see what I'm saying? So if you pull that out of the equation, what type of person are you dealing with? What type of person? Can they say I'm sorry in other areas, or is this a pattern? Do they just not apologize? Do they just not say I'm sorry for whatever reason, whether because they don't know how to do it or they just never feel like they need to do it? That's what you have to figure out. Who are you dealing with? And then if this is a romantic situation, you now have to make a decision about how important it is. So to me, if someone makes a mistake, I do need to hear an apology. Now, I don't need to hear it to stroke my ego. I don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear it to have somebody prove to me that I'm right. My reasons aren't ego-based, and yours may not be either. My reasons are, I need to know that you know what you did was wrong. And then I need you to show me that you know it was wrong by doing something different. Because in my mind, if you refuse to apologize for what you did, then that tells me that you don't feel bad about doing it. And if you don't feel bad about doing it, what's to stop you from doing it again? So that's the way I think about it. And I can bring Christianity back into it and say, hey, if I decide to walk away, I'll pray for them, or I won't hold anything against them, or I won't be bitter about it. You can do it that way. But just speaking in terms of relation, just that one area, I know that I need someone who knows how to say I'm sorry. I apologize. I made a mistake, whatever comes out. And I need to see or hear them say, this is what I'll do in the future. What I think I need to do in the future so this doesn't happen again is A, B, C, D. And that will tell me that they at least are aware that what they did was wrong. But I won't be able to last long with someone who can't apologize, especially if it's something that's very hurtful. If you did something very hurtful, borderline disrespectful, something that you knew would hurt my feelings, or for that moment you just didn't care if it would hurt my feelings, if you don't feel like I deserve an apology, then that tells me you're okay doing it, which means at some point you could throw me off course and do it again. And I don't want to stick around for that, because that time it'll be my fault. Let me see. You just said something else. Let me add to that. See, that's the disconnect, and that's what I like to hear. I think I can see clearly now. Thank you. And this is my dilemma. If you refuse to apologize, I see no change, and that's scary as hell. I'm with you 100%. I have dated one person where I kept coming up with reasons to forgive him for stuff he never said I'm sorry for. And all he did was continue to do the same shit. So I don't deal with people who can't say I'm sorry anymore. I don't. If you don't know how, you got to learn. But I don't deal with it, because if you can't say what I did was wrong, that was stupid, that was my mistake, this is probably where my head was at the time and I shouldn't have taken that out on. If you can't say anything about behavior that you chose to exhibit towards me that I've told you bothered me, then in my mind, you have no problem doing it again. And it'll be easier the next time. So I got to go. So I definitely understand that. Jacquelinetta. Right. Nancy will like, oh, Red. Aaron says, I've been in situations, I apologize when I wasn't wrong just to keep peace. And I'll be the same. I have done that too. I knew I was right. I knew I was right. I knew it. But sometimes you have to decide you'd rather let go of one battle to win the war. And the few times that I've chosen to just back off and apologize, it's because that person, us being together, was more important, not in a codependent or I don't want to be alone sense, but in a I really respect this person. Their good outweighs their bad. This is a very trivial situation. It's not going to lead to anything that becomes a non-negotiable. it's just not worth it. I'd rather just go over there and lay on his lap. It's not worth it to keep trying to be right. So I definitely understand that. Peace and blessings, Lisa. Good to see you, sis. Thank you for tuning in, Lee. Lee says, can someone tell that person, hey, you owe me an apology, and tell them why they should apologize to you if they don't understand what they did to you or someone else was wrong? I think that's possible. I think it's possible for, in Xavier's question, I think it's possible for someone to sit back and say, hey, you know that was wrong, right? The only caveat to that, though, is I'll say it like this. There will be times that you have to bring someone in. I have a couple of friends who are in separate relationships with other people, and there have been times that they have brought me into their relationship to tell me some of the things that were going on. And because I'm not emotionally involved with either one of them, I was able to be objective and see where my friend was right, but also see where my friend was wrong, and see where, their partner was right, but where their partner was wrong. And that can help when it comes to, certain situations where y'all can talk it out, and maybe there's just a difference of opinion or miscommunication, or because of upbringings, you're seeing one thing two different ways. That's possible. The only thing is, what type of person is this person in Xavier's question? Is this just a one situation thing where maybe they're just not seeing clearly? Or is this just someone who just does not make a habit of apologizing when they're wrong? Because if this is someone who's just never wrong, bringing another person into it to say that they were wrong is just going to frustrate that third party, because that person is just not going to believe they're wrong no matter how many people you bring in. On the other side of that, if you do bring in someone else, it also needs to be someone that both people trust. So if you have someone who thinks they're right, now we know they're not, but they think they're right. If I go bring my best friend into the situation, even if I'm right, whether my best friend says I'm right or not, my partner is going to immediately be on the defensive and look for reasons why my best friend is just trying to side with me. So if you find someone that both people trust, and you're dealing with someone who knows how to apologize, they just really don't think they're wrong, you got a better chance of that going over well. What people in that situation have to be mindful, though, of is you don't want to end up dating someone where you always have to bring in a third party to prove your point. Because what that can start to breed is a relationship where the person you're with just doesn't really give a flip about your feelings unless somebody else tells them that they're supposed to. And I don't think that's a way to live either. Aaron says exactly. I'm calling you Red. Red says, I can always apologize if I'm wrong, but if you refuse, I'm walking away with no regrets. For you to not want to apologize means you take no accountability for you or your actions. And that's a scary place to be, because if you're not accountable, even someone who doesn't know how to say I'm sorry, this has been my experience at least, even someone who doesn't know how to say I'm sorry, but is very well aware that something they did bothered you, they're going to do something. Now, we may think it's half-assed, but they're going to do something to show you that they're sorry, even though they don't know how to say the words. Like I told you with the gentleman who started showing me all the rally racing and the drag race. I knew he was trying to apologize. He just wanted to make the peace. He didn't know what to say, but he made the effort. But if you have people who won't even make the effort, y'all, they're usually not sorry. They're not sorry. And people who aren't sorry about what they did to you will normally do it again and again and again and again. Those are the people you got to let go of. Peace and blessings to Wayne. Thank you so much for tuning in. So what do you do when you have a 30-year-old son that keeps on disrespecting a dad or mom and apologizing, and then comes right back 2 or 3 months later and does it over and over? Because I'm at the point, it makes me want to hurt him. I definitely understand, especially when he is a grown ass man. So when you have people who do that, those are called, what's the word I want to look for? I mean, I don't even have to come up. They fake. The apology is fake. The apology is fake. The apology is, let me just say it because I know that's what I need to say. But that's why you have so many people now who talk about an apology being a process. It's not just, I'm sorry. It's not just, I know this thing was wrong. It's, I'm sorry, and this is what I'm going to do to work on the behavior that caused me to do it the first time. If both things aren't being worked on, it's always going to come back to the same offense over and over and over again. So it sounds like this 30-year-old is just saying, I'm sorry because it's the right thing to do, but it's not sinking in that they got to do different things, have different mindsets, come up with different habits or coping mechanisms or whatever it is. They've got to be different so that they can respond different. All they're doing is saying, I'm sorry, because they feel like that's what they're supposed to say. But if they're okay doing it again, barring any kind of mental illness that I'm not aware of, they're not sorry. They're just trying to keep the peace. And maybe it's because they don't want to lose out on something. Maybe it's because they don't want to lose out on being able to ask for money or ask for a ride or ask for a place to stay. I don't know what the dynamic is, but usually someone who says I'm sorry and keeps doing the same thing, they're not sorry. It's just lip service. What about your kids? Yeah, the same thing applies. Same thing applies. Anybody who's spent any time listening to me on social media or knows me personally, you know I love my son. I love my son. Love him. I also tell my son not to ever put himself in a position where I have to forget he's my kid, because him being my kid, he is in the absolute safest space for him and his life. And so I tell him, don't ever put me in a position, I don't care how old you get, never put me in a position where I can't look at you as my son. So I think what we have to remember is, even though, well, I'll talk about me. Even though I remember holding him when he was only 7 pounds and 9 ounces and 19 and a half inches long, even though I remember that, those are my memories. He doesn't remember that. And he's also his own person. He may be an extension of me. He may be part of me in terms of DNA and bloodline and all that other stuff, but he is still his own person. He's still going to develop his own personality. And if his personality doesn't match with mine, we're going to have problems. And if he doesn't end up knowing how to apologize or effectively say, I'm sorry, correct behavior, I'm going to hold his ass to the fire on it. At least with me. Now, I can't control what other people decide to deal with if he, were to turn into someone like that. I'm doing my best to make sure he doesn't, but I also understand that parents can only do so much because kids are here for their own purpose. They're not sequels. So having said that, I can't control how other people may put up if he happens to have bad behavior. I know what I'm willing to put up with and what I'm not. And I had to, learn that there may come a time, if he were to ever change from the mild-mannered, respectful kid that he is, if he were to, just turn into a raging asshole, I can remember my 4-year-old and my 8-hour-old and even my 14-year-old, but I have to start dealing with him as whatever age he is at that time. If he's a 25-year-old asshole, then I'm going to have to deal with him like a 25-year-old asshole, which means I won't. Now, if he decides to resume being my son again, we're good. But I think that's where we sometimes miss it. We love them so much and we still remember everything about their little lives. But sometimes we have to remember that we have to treat them based off where they are, not the way we remember them. I don't know if that helps. Peace and blessings, Ashley. Good to see you. Dwayne says, or bringing in a third party can feel like a setup, or that person may feel attacked. Exactly. That's why I say it's important to bring in someone that both of you trust. In both of the situations with the friends of mine who said, hey, can we tell you our side of this particular situation? Both of them trusted me. Both of them knew I had their back, and both of them had seen me, side with behavior, not side with my friend. So in those instances, even though I was friends with one person in those couples, more than the other one. The person who was just coming in and getting to know me, I had established enough trust that they were like, okay, if she says I'm wrong, I know it's going to be because I'm wrong, not because she's just trying to side with her friend. And so that's why you have to be delicate. It can't be, well, I'm going to bring my best friend in here to tell you you're wrong. They're not going to hear that. But if you bring in somebody that you're close to that is also close with them, they may be more willing to hear it. If they're a person, I cannot stress this enough, if they're a person who knows how to apologize, even if the way they apologize isn't verbally. But these jokers that are never wrong, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time or your friend's time. Wayne says, that's what I have done. Let him go and pray for him. You're so right. It's fake. Yeah. And you know you didn't do it. You know you raised him the way that you were supposed to. You know that he knows right from wrong, and he proves he knows right from wrong because even though the apology is fake, he still gives it. So this isn't a you thing. This isn't his mom thing. This isn't a parenting thing. This is he's his own person thing, and right now he's choosing to be somebody that you would prefer he's not. And so I just say continue to love him, pray for him like you said, and respond accordingly. If he's acting in ways that you would not deal with from someone else, then you can't deal with it with him. Not because you don't love him, but quite the opposite, because you don't want to give the impression that who he is now is okay. If he feels his own parents backing away at some point, it may take a minute, but at some point he'll say, okay, well, I know my parents love me, so if they're falling away from me, if they're backing away from me, then maybe I do need to think about this again. So reward their behavior accordingly. Adjust according to their behavior. Peace and blessings to Anthony. Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a minute. Anthony says, how people say sorry now sucks. Texting someone to me does not mean you're sorry. Let me hear your voice. Now, it can depend. I definitely understand what you're saying. And I think that it does depend on the normal pattern of that person. So let's say you have two people who are dating and their main form of communication is by text or FaceTime or whatever. That's just going to be their go-to. Now, if you have someone who is one-on-one and face-to-face like you are, you're absolutely right. If we're face-to-face when things are good, you don't get to text me, I'm sorry, when things are bad, because now you're being a big chicken. Now you punking out because you don't want to see my face. I'm not accepting that. So I'm definitely with you on that. You're absolutely welcome, sir. Xavier says, speaking of parents, some parents show red flags, and I think the same applies to what you said. Endure disrespect from a child by a parent for their entire life can cause that sort of resentment. It absolutely can. It can. So, if parents were mistreated and Wayne, that may be something else to think about. Is there a chance that, and you only know the situation, but, sit back and self-reflect and make sure, is there a chance I raised him harsh and now he's coming at us because now he's feeling grown and more in power. And he doesn't yet understand that you were raising him the way that you raised him for a reason. Now he's just wanting to prove that he doesn't have to listen to you anymore. Is it that simple? Or is there a chance that there's something he is still angry about, angry about what you guys did and you've never discussed it? Not necessarily that you were wrong, even though you're not willing to admit it if you were to sit down and talk. But maybe it's one of those, he won't understand why you did what you did until he has a kid of his own. So in the meantime, he's just mad. Make sure it's not one of those situations too. That's a good point, Xavier. All right, Red says, my mom showed disrespect repeatedly by choosing men over her children. The final straw was her marrying the man who tried to rape my twin sister. We have no relationship with her, and I don't have a problem with that. My life is peaceful without the drama. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we have to pull blood out of the equation and just look at the behavior and ask ourselves one simple question. If I was not related to this person, would I fuck with them? And if the answer is no, I'm going to stop fucking with them. Lee says, kids are not sequels. They're not, and we sometimes we have to really remind ourselves of that. We have a lot of parents who try to live through their kids. We have a lot of parents who try to, push their kids into the family business or push their kids into sports because they didn't get to do it, or push their kids into all these other things because they're like, well, I didn't get to do it, so they're doing it. But that's not their role. They passed into life through us. We're responsible for guiding them, but we're not responsible for taking over their future or, putting their original purpose to the side just so we can watch them do something we didn't get to do. And so sometimes we have to, remember that. Dwayne says, when it comes to a relationship, even with your kids, set boundaries. 100% true. I tell my son every day, and I've had to. I'm 5 feet. My son is about 5'8" right now. He's 14. He's getting that puberty strength and all that other stuff. And I'm not saying he's come at me because he hasn't. But I do tell him. I try to instill in him. I've been doing it since I think he was 10 when he started looking at me eye to eye. And I just had to tell him, hey, I don't give a damn how tall you get. If you ever come at me like you're not my kid, I promise you, one of us ain't getting up and it ain't going to be me. So you got to set those boundaries and make sure they understand what's up. Wayne says, wow, yes, your mom was so wrong. She was. She really was. And Red is good. She good. She'll cut you. But she's good. Xavier says, oh, this is for Red. I'm so sorry that happened to you and your family. I'm happy you made the right decision for you and your twin as well. I just look at that in a very skewed way, but I also don't know the trials of motherhood. Got it. Okay. Wayne says, no, it's not done of that. We did raise him right. Now he has 2 boys that he needs to help raise them. Oh. So now he has 2 boys and he needs to help raise them because I was that father in his. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's tough. Sometimes we can raise our kids right. And specifically if we raise them right and they happen to have more friends who weren't raised the way that they were raised, they don't tend to know how important it is. So they don't tend to always think about passing what they were given to other people because something in them made them feel entitled. It was almost like, well, if I'm the only one of my friends who has this or can do this or can go here or who can go there, then it's because I'm special. It's not because I'm supposed to pass the torch if I make other children. It's just because I got it because I'm special. Yeah, that's hard. Red says, period. My son knows I love him, but he also knows I don't play. Like, I'm serious. Like, and some of y'all I know you don't know, but my ex-husband, his father, he tried to kill me. Baseball bat and a knife. I'm not supposed to be here. And I have never held that against my son. I'm just also very well aware that he has half of his father's DNA. So if there's any part of him that has that ability, I just wanted to make sure he knew very early. Your daddy went to prison. I'll put you in the grave. Like, ain't nobody gonna try to take my life again. I don't give a damn who you are. So make sure I'm always able to see you as my kid. Because if I ever can't see you as my kid, you're going to see a side of me that nobody really believes is there. And that just is what it is. And so luckily we have not had that problem. I don't anticipate that we will have that problem. But, just like we've said here, even with family, we can't keep coming up with reasons to have boundaries based off bloodline. Boundaries based off bloodline are not boundaries. That's codependency, and you are inviting disrespect into your house. I'm going to treat you right if you meet these boundaries, blood or not. I'm going to cut your ass off if you don't meet these boundaries, bloodline or not. It's got to be that simple. We got to stop this. Oh, but it's my mom. I don't care. Your mama's a narcissistic. Let me swallow that word. Your mom's a narcissist. Yeah, but it's my dad. Yeah, but your dad was no good. And it's okay. You can still love him. But you can love him and also be honest about the fact that he ain't shit. You can be honest and say, I love my mama, but she ain't shit. And as long as they choose to be not shit, they're going to be not shit over there. That is completely okay and acceptable. Don't let people guilt trip you into anything otherwise. Let's see here. Peace and blessings, Ellery. Good to see you, brother. Hey, girl. Love to hear. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Red says, right. I will push your chest into your back. Do not play with... Look, the benefit of being short and from the country, I'm stronger than I look. And when you bring me to the point of rage, I'm a 400-pound woman. And I don't care how tall you are. I find ways to climb, jump on counters. I'm not above weapons. Just don't fuck with me. Just keep it simple. Don't fuck with me. Lee says, you brought him in this world and I will take him out. I will. If pushed. Wayne says, that's so true, my sister. That's what the old people used to say. They sure did. And I grew up with that too. Well, it's your mama. And you supposed to, no, I'm not. Respect your elders. No, and I'm going to respect who respects me. I don't care if you're 85 years old. You talk to me crazy, I'm going to talk right back crazy. We both adults. That's how I feel about it. I won't ever initiate any level of disrespect, but I will meet it if it's brought in my direction. What's up, Troshelle? Good to see you, sis. Red says, that's it. All right, so I think that is the end of that question. Before we move forward, let me do a real quick shout out to my brother Tate. Most of y'all know that I'm also 1/3 of the Bad Squad radio show, where we are live every Friday night from 9 to 11 Central Time, 10 to midnight Eastern, right here on Facebook as well as YouTube Live under the Bad Squad. But my brother Tate has created his own spinoff called TMI with Tate News Edition. And so you get two of us on Tuesdays. You get me in the afternoon and you get Tate on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. right here on Facebook. Look him up under Mr. TMI Tate. Make sure you send him a friend request, or you can just go to my page because I will do my best every week. If I'm not able to be on, I'm definitely going to share it so y'all can tune in. But join him. He talks about everything from current events to news. And now he has a wonderful new segment called Real Man-ish. Well, he gets in the corner and he talks about some things specifically for men to grow them up and, to be the leaders, the providers, and the protectors that us women who still love men need. So he gives it raw, he gives it real, but it's always in love. So you guys check him out. Okay. All right. So let me move on. Next question. This is from a brother over on IG. He asked it publicly, so I just went ahead and put his @ label here. Here's his question. What do you do when the female in your life feels you aren't working just as hard or showing as much effort as her and is continually disrespectful to you? All right, so I'm going to answer this from two different perspectives. I don't know if he was talking about her not feeling he's working as hard just overall, just in terms of work or reaching goals or finances, or if he meant she's not thinking he's working as hard on the relationship. So I'll start with the first one. So if what she means by she doesn't feel like you're working as hard as her in terms of goals or ambitions or dreams or whatever, the first thing that I would do, and I'm real big on this, the first thing I would do is self-reflect. I would ask, is she right? And I just don't want to hear it. Is she telling me something that's true, but I just don't want to hear it? Because if that's the case, here's the reason I ask that. If this woman is seeing that there's something that you could do differently or better, and you're not allowing your ego to let it register that she's doing it because she cares about you, not because she's picking on you, that is where you're going to get that level of disrespect. And it's because by you not listening to her, she's feeling that you're not respecting her. So you're basically having her energy mirror what she's receiving by you choosing to ignore what she's saying. Now, if that's not the case, if you're exactly who you were when you met her, and maybe she's, grown more, both, sometimes people can meet and they're both at the same level, say, in their jobs. They're working at different places, but they're at the same level. Is there a chance that she has moved up in ranks and you haven't? And is there a chance that you haven't moved up in ranks because she's looking at certain things that you're doing that could potentially be causing that? And as she continues to move up the ranks and you're not moving with her, yeah, there is going to be a level of disrespect that happens. I'm not condoning this, by the way. I'm just explaining it for you. So there may be a level of disrespect there because she feels like she's continuing to take off, and at some point she's going to have to take off without you because you refuse whatever it is. If it's he doesn't get up on time, or he's always late to work, or he never stays focused, or whatever it is, if she's seeing things that are saying you're not going to be able to continue to grow with her, the disrespect that you're hearing is usually frustration and hurt because she really wants you. But her intuition is also telling her if you don't get off your ass and get something done, she's going to have to leave you behind, and she doesn't want to leave you behind. So what is coming across as disrespect is anger, because what's really happening is her saying, why won't you just stop doing this so we can stay together, because I don't want to let you go. But I know at some point if you don't change, I'm going to have to let you go, and that makes me mad. So you want to make sure of those things. Is she saying something that's wrong, or is it just something you don't want to hear? And the best way to figure that out is to ask a friend. Say, hey, my girl is saying blah, blah, blah. If your friend gives some kind of indication that your girl is on point, it might be a sign that you need to listen. Now, if you tell the same friend who also is capable of telling you when you're wrong, don't go to the friend that believes you above everything, no matter what. You don't want to go to what I call the dead body friend. They walk into the house, they see a dead body, you say it's not yours, and they just say, okay. You don't want that friend. Find a friend who'll tell you the truth. If that friend says, no, she's off, then you may need to figure out what it is that she's feeling that's causing her to look at you the way she is. So those are some of the initial steps that I would take if what you're saying is related to her feeling like she's outgrowing you professionally or financially, health, consciousness, whatever. Now, let's say it's related to the relationship. So based off of your question, if she doesn't feel like you're working as hard or showing as much effort in the relationship, again, I would self-reflect. Have you gotten complacent? Like my brother Gregorio, when he brought up sometimes, is it wrong if you don't feel butterflies anymore? If this is about a relationship, are you one of the people who doesn't feel butterflies all the way through a relationship? Have you gotten content and you know that this is where you want to be, but you've made the mistake of assuming that she doesn't need the same things too, instead of asking or just continuing to do what you did to keep her? So you want to make sure that it's not something that you need to fix on your end before you come forward. If you don't believe that that's a problem, then now what you want to do is ask her questions. Now it's going to depend on how you ask and what you ask. And the best example that I can give is absolutely, positively, don't walk in there weak. Don't walk in there whining. I agree with that. I know that's going to be the first thing that most brothers will say. Well, I ain't punking out. Don't punk out. I support you not punking out. At the same time, make sure that you are being firm with your words and vulnerable with them at the same time. Just say, hey, this relationship is important to me. You are important to me. You're saying certain things that are crossing a line of respect as a man, as far as I'm concerned. And I want to give you a chance to tell me why you feel the way that you feel. Here are some of the things that you said. Here are some of the things that you did. I want to give you a chance to tell me why you feel this way before I assume that you're just being disrespectful. You can just make it that clear. And, you can word it in a way that sounds more like you. You know, you can set up an opportunity if you want to set the mood to have the conversation, whatever it is. But just make it clear. I want you to have room to speak, but I'm also letting you know that you are crossing a boundary. So I want to give you a chance to speak so we can work it out. But I'm also making you aware that the behavior that you're exhibiting is unacceptable. And if I have to choose between you and my manhood, I'm out. Because I'm not going to be disrespected. I don't disrespect you. I'm not going to stay in a place where I'm disrespected. So that's the stance that you need to take. Please talk to me. Also understand you've crossed the line. And from there, depending on what she says, figure out what can be worked on, figure out what can be fixed, figure out what is a non-negotiable for one or both of you, and then proceed accordingly. Okay? Let me see what the rest of the group has to say. Ellery says, I'm raising my daughter Kaylee by myself. Her mom signed away her rights over to me 5 years ago and moved away. Hey, Monette. Big facts. Short country. That's a fellow short, strong country girl. Red says, oh my God, I love y'all. Well, hey, we love you too. Well, that's a heavy question. It was. Wayne says, let her go and find you someone that appreciates you, my brother. Now, if all else fails, I agree with Wayne. I'm real big on see if you can salvage the relationship first, if at all possible. And one of the best ways to determine if you can salvage the relationship is for both people to come together to communicate with humility and a desire to hear more than they speak. If you can salvage the relationship, I will always choose that, no matter what. But if you try these steps, my brother, and it doesn't work, and you find that she is still being disrespectful, the fact that you reached out lets you know that she's crossing a boundary that you have. Whether you've said it or not, she's crossing a boundary. Don't let her continue to cross that boundary, because the longer she crosses it, the more comfortable she becomes and the more disrespectful she's going to become. And then she may hit another trigger in you. So nix it, see if it can be salvaged. If it can't, let that chick go. I promise you there'll be somebody else. What's up, cousin? Good to see you. I love you too. Xavier says, do you have any tips for detecting a red flag in professional relationships? How closely are you working with them, Xavier? Let me know what the actual relationship is. Wayne says sometimes some women start to make more money and then they become, yeah. I mean, I'm a woman and you're right. I've seen women do it. And I've seen the effects of it on men who have dealt with that type of woman when they meet me. For whatever reason, I may have the same credentials or the same level of ambition, or maybe I have the same degree or I make the same salary or whatever, and they immediately bring those assumptions from the old relationship into the new one. Not understanding that there are some women who have degrees and ambitions and let it go to their head, and there are some women who have those degrees and ambitions because those are personal goals that they set for themselves, but they got no problem playing the role of submission and allowing a man to lead, because we don't have to wear the pants. We chose to do those things. That's the side that I fall on. I have the degrees I have because I wanted them. I do the things that I do because I want to do them. I refuse to date a man just to pay for my bills. I just live. I live where my money says I can live, and I just work it out. I don't desire to control a man. I don't desire to put him under my feet. I don't have a desire for that, but I have met men who are used to women like me having that mindset. So you're absolutely right. If this is a situation where that sister is making more money and she's acting like he's now not good enough, bro, let her feel like you're not good enough while she alone looking for a next one. She'll be back. Don't take her back, but she'll be back. Wayne says, I agree with you about find you a real friend that will tell you that you absolutely. I got a whole slew of them, even when I don't want to hear it. But I appreciate them. That hurts some men when your woman does you like that. Yeah, I know it does. I know it does. Because it hits that ego. I think sometimes women are so used to men being cold that they don't understand that men actually do have feelings, emotions, and they do talk. And I know this because they talk to me. And when a man makes a decision to open up and say something to a woman, even if it's not as eloquent as our friends may say it, and even if it doesn't feel as emotional, anytime a man opens up to you is a big deal. And it's how you respond the first time they open up to you that will dictate if they ever do it again. So I just want us to be, mindful of that. So Xavier is clarifying. I mean, I work in the medical field, so between doctors and nurses. Okay. 1 second. It's open communication. The next, it's a Socrates circle of hell. Ugh. I do not know how to balance it, or if I should, or if they should. Okay. So what I would say in this instance, Xavier, I know that you would prefer, because anytime we're working outside of the house, we want to at least enjoy what we're doing. And it would be great if we also enjoyed what we're doing and enjoyed the people that we're doing it with. So because of the medical profession, being in the medical field, I know that there's probably a chance that you can't get away from these people. If there is, then great. But I know that there's probably a chance that you can't get away from them. And so if you're going from open communication to complete shutdown, I think that you may be dealing with, I think you're dealing with ego. You may be dealing with office politics. You may be dealing with, are they feeling threatened? Can you determine the cycle? Can you determine when it shifts? Does it shift after you get a congratulations or a kudos? Does it shift after they get a congratulations or a kudos? Does it shift after you get recognition or after they get recognition? Does it shift if one of you is corrected and being told that you need to do something different? Like, when is it happening? See if there is a cycle, and that may help you pinpoint why it changes like it does. If you notice that there is no cycle, then one thing that you may want to do is sit back and figure out how important it is to get along with them. And the reason I say that is, if they're showing you that they're wishy-washy, it's irritating, but it's still going to be a character building thing for you in terms of how to navigate around people like that. And so if they're showing to be wishy-washy, I know it would be easier if they weren't. But if they're showing to be, then figure out, do I even have to get along with them? Do I even have to work with them? Does it even matter if we get along? If the answer is no, I wouldn't put any more energy in it. I'll speak and I'll keep it moving. I'll do my job and I'll keep it moving. If they do something for me, I'm going to continue to say thank you and keep it moving. But I'm shutting down any part of me that wants to develop any type of relationship with them regardless. Now, if these are people you do have to work with, you could take the approach of wanting to sit down and ask them, whether it be individually or in a group. You could ask them, hey, I noticed before this thing happened, if you have determined a cycle, I noticed before this thing happened, we were able to communicate like this and this and this. And I noticed since this thing happened, you seem to be more standoffish and you seem to be, and just simply ask, hey, is there something that we need to discuss? Is there a different way you want us to deal with each other? Has something happened that I'm unaware of? And you may find that it's not even related to you. It could be, but you may find that it's not. But I would start there. First, does it even matter? In the grand scheme of my life here and my potential to move up the ranks, do I even need them? And if you realize that your job is not necessarily intertwined with them to the point that you have to be close, then I wouldn't stress about it again. But if you do think that it would be better for the department or the hospital or the facility or wherever it is that y'all are working together, if you think it would be in the best interest of the patients or just the general public as a whole that you two get along, then extend the olive branch. But again, do it in a way that they know they're not in control. You're aware you're not confronting them, but you do want to make sure they understand professionally you're crossing a boundary by doing these things, and see if that will help you. Monette says, make sure you are securing your own self-worth before you step to a female who has goals, drives, and aspirations. If a female throws it in your face, check her, but do not have a fight internally, and do not ever let her know. Right. So she's right. I do have goals. I do have drive. I do have aspirations, ambitions. I'm self-motivated, all that good stuff. And I never throw what I have in a man's face. Now, he throws it in his own face a lot, which gets really old when men do that. But I'm not one of the women who does that. And so this goes back to what I said in the beginning. We have to make sure that we're healed from old stuff. So brothers who are used to dealing with women who have the mindset that I have and use it in a negative, emasculating way, they need to heal before they come to a woman like me. Because you're not going to put me through the same nonsense you wish you had put her through, because I'm not even looking at you the same way she was looking at you. I'm not looking at you as competition. I'm not looking at you as someone that I want to conquer and control and have, walking behind me on a leash. I don't need that. I need a man beside me. I need a man who knows how to tell me when to shut the hell up, because sometimes I need to shut the hell up, but I need you to do it in a way that I don't say fuck you. So I need you to be wise, but I need you to be able to handle the fact that my personality is strong. Not overbearing, but it is strong. And I will definitely subdue it around the right energy. I'll definitely subdue it around the right energy. Energy that I know doesn't want to conquer or control me. An energy that is not insecure by me. I tone down naturally. I don't even have to make an effort. My energy says, oh, this is a man. Okay. And chill. That's how I roll. That's how a lot of us roll. We don't all roll with that. I'm an independent woman, and you can't buy nothing for me that I can't buy for myself. And I have my own house, my own car. I don't do all that. I don't have time for all that. I want a man in my life. I don't want an opponent. So make sure that you are securing you, because I'm 100% going to make room for a man that I want. I'm going to make time for the man that I want, and he is not going to have to fight me to wear the pants in this relationship. But you do have to make sure that you are able to come to me and know that you can hold your own, because I'm not holding your hand either. Peace and blessings to Paul. Thank you so much for tuning in. I guess he liked what I had to say. Xavier says, do you have any examples of healing or methodologies? For which question, Xavier, let me know. What's up, Kimon? Good to see you. And Red says, period. Yeah, I'm not gonna beg you to take your position. You need to have them pants on, because I promise you, the brothers who wore the pants, they know they did not have to fight me for nothing. Shoot, let me help you zip them up, and then let me help you take them off. Let me stop. This is a 2:00 show, not 9 p.m. Wayne says, amen, amen. I'm just saying, there are women out here who believe that. We do exist. All right, so while Xavier answers his question, I want to go on and do a different thing today based off of just some brief scrolling I did yesterday. I was just scrolling through my news feed like other people do every day, and I ran into back-to-back screenshots that were just ridiculous. So I want to finish off by discussing those today. Let me see if this is Xavier here. Ellery says, okay, Xavier says healing before dating, before starting a new job or a new mindset. Oh, yeah, I can do that. So In terms of healing before dating, the hardest one that it is for people to do is to be alone. I don't mean you just sleep alone 5 nights a week. I don't mean you're alone in the sense that you're not in a relationship, but you're talking to 5 and 6 different people. I mean completely and totally alone. Phone dry, inbox empty, or you're ignoring it, turning down dates alone. This is the hardest part, but this is, if you could master this, you'll be single the time that you'll spend being single will be so much less than this nonsense we're doing where we just want one foot in and one foot out. We just always want to know that we have somebody around us. Y'all being completely alone, I know it sounds scary, but it's not that bad. Now, you'll have moments where you're tired of being that alone, but that's part of the process. We seem to want what feels better. Being alone doesn't feel as good as having a lot of attention, so we go that route. Being completely untethered from people doesn't feel as good as having somebody to cuddle with every now and then. And yeah, I know they really want to be with me, but they know what it is and they knew what it was, blah, blah, blah. That feels better. So that's the way we go. If we can just master us, and make the decision, I know it's going to be lonely. I know for a little while it's going to suck. And I know I'm going to have these urges and these cravings and all this other stuff. But damn it, I need to be by myself for a minute. If we can master us, everything else falls in line, because when you're not still entertaining people in a half-assed way, you can give yourself full-ass attention. Imagine that. So master the art of being alone. As you are alone, start to forgive yourself. A lot of the stuff that we do to new people, this is what we don't understand. The stalling, the back and forth, the hot and cold. We're real quick to say that it's because of our past, but the truth is that we feel like we failed us in the past, so we don't want to fail us again, but we don't trust ourselves. Time alone will show you how to trust yourself, because you'll be able to unpack all of that nonsense because you don't have the distraction of new people. You can unpack all that nonsense and really start to see those relationships for what they were. Yeah, there may have definitely been some things that you could have done differently. But some of y'all just need to sit back and take the time to realize that there was nothing you could do differently except pick a different person. You didn't do anything wrong. They turned out to not be who they said they were, or life happened and they didn't seem to be able to recover and continue being what you needed in the way that you needed it. It could be that both of y'all were just young and you made decisions based off of what you knew at the time. Now you know better, so you would do better. Some of y'all just need to take the time to sit back and realize, oh, okay, so it's not because I'm stupid. I didn't go through that because I'm stupid or because I'm unlovable or because I'm not attractive. I went through it because I was 22 and I didn't know shit. Like, some of y'all just need to let yourselves off the hook, because if you can let yourself off the hook, you won't put new people through so much hell. So go through that process and then begin to relearn yourself. One reason a lot of people will get in these half-ass situationships and entanglements is because they're thinking that they still miss the person they're no longer with, when it's really the routine they miss. You just miss having someone to crawl in bed with every night at 10 o'clock because that's what you've been doing for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. You miss that routine. But the best way to get yourself ready for a new experience is to have a new routine just for you. Develop a new routine. Go do something for yourself every week. And you got to give yourself time. Initially, it's going to suck because whatever you're doing now is going to be a reminder of what you were doing. And that doesn't feel good. But if we will just give ourselves time to get through the pain instead of trying to avoid it or circumvent it or skip over it, you'll find that it won't last that long. And then what you'll discover is you'll wake up one day and you'll have a new damn routine, a new normal. And now that new normal is just involving you, guess what? If you decide that you really want to spend time with someone, you'll know now that it's because you really want to spend time with them. It won't be because it's 10 o'clock and I just need somebody here because that's what I'm used to. You'll actually start dating again, not using new people as interchangeable parts to your old life. So those are some of the first steps that I would take. In terms of a new job, with a new job, I would say think of the things that you liked about the previous job. Think about the things that you didn't like. Not just with the job itself, but with the way that you performed. Well, I really like the fact that I, stayed focused all day, and I like the fact that I was able to do blah, blah, blah. But, my time management wasn't great. I think it would be good this time for me to start off on day one with a clean calendar. Maybe I should have spent more time networking so that I could know more people. So maybe this time I'll dedicate a day a week to getting to know somebody else. Or I'm going to keep a notebook this time so I can write down everything as I'm learning it instead of trying to remember it all. Look at the things that if you had a chance you could do differently in the old job, and take all of that woulda, coulda, shoulda into the new job with a plan. And in terms of a new mindset, a lot of times getting a new mindset is usually as simple as deciding that you don't like what the results of the old mindset are. And that's where we have to keep it simple. I have this mindset. Let me look at my life. Is my life the life I want? And if the answer is no, then that means that the current mindset should easily be thrown away. Now, the reason it's not easily thrown away is because we're creatures of habit and we adapt. And so the idea of a new mindset, new behaviors, a new routine in the morning, new routine in the evening, that does feel hard at one point. But we forget that the routine we're used to now, at some point, that was new. We've just been doing it so long, we don't remember that we weren't born doing it. So the same way you learn the mindset or whatever that you have now, you can learn a new one. It just feels harder because you're more aware that you're doing it. But as you start to do it and make it more of a regular thing, you're going to find that that turns into your new routine. And then you'll see that your life will now reflect that new routine. And if the new routine or mindset is working, you'll notice that your life is better than it was with the old mindset. If you notice that you're still going this way, then you're on the right track. Just keep doing it. Okay. Ellery says, do you date men who wear sweatpants? I am team gray sweatpants. Yes, I am. And I'm going to stop there because it's still daytime. I'm glad, Wayne. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're tuning in. But you're not wrong. I'm just saying. Xavier says, all right, the pack fucked me up. Then I fucked the pack up. Let me go sit in silence for a little minute. I'm just saying. We just got to learn to master being by ourselves. Once y'all master that, everything else is so much easier. It is so much easier. When I mastered being by myself, it became easier to see what I wanted and easier to see what I didn't. And then when I ran into a situation where I'm like, oh, okay, I could see me with this brother, then that opened up another part of me where I was willing to be more vulnerable, open, communicate instead of cut off. I just became a much calmer version. So just master being alone, completely and totally alone. And you won't have to do it long. I promise you. All right. So back to these screenshots. So I call them the screenshots from hell. And I just want to talk about these three real quick so we can dispel some myths, because there are really people out here who believe this. And it's nonsense. So let me go ahead and get to the first one. Here is the first screenshot I saw. Now, for those of you who can't read it, let me get this out of the way so y'all can actually read it. That would help. Okay. So here's the deal. I know a lot of y'all have probably seen this. I won't read it verbatim, but what's happened here is this guy, actually I will. I'll read it verbatim. let me do that. Because I saved it on my computer. Let me find it real quick. Podcast. There it is. Okay. My girlfriend of 6 months has been out of work for the past 2 weeks, and she just got word that she will be laid off permanently. She asked me could she move in with me, and I told her I'm not ready to share my home with anyone. She offered to pay half the bills. I still declined. She then proceeded to ask could I pay her rent for her next month. I told her that I'm not comfortable doing things that a husband should do for my girlfriend, but I told her she could borrow $300. She says that I'm wrong for not helping her out during her time of need, but that isn't the case in my perspective. She says that she isn't sure she will continue dating me. Okay. So this brother's question, he was basically like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And so I want to just talk about this particular screenshot here from this mindset. So you have a brother who's very clear. I don't really like to, provide for a woman in that manner unless we're together. And A, B, C, D. So I get that. And so for all the brothers who are like, yeah, I mean, if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. There are going to be other people who say, well, they've only been together for 6 months, blah, blah, blah. So here's the issue with this screenshot. When you're dating someone, it's my opinion that by the 6-month mark, you already know or should know where people stand when it comes to how much they're willing to put forward financially, physically, emotionally, whatever. There are people who are just like, I don't spend money on girlfriends. I only spend it when I get married. The reason that this one is a little sketchy is because it's like, well, we've been together for 6 months and my job laid me off. And now I'm permanently, I'm out of work and I just need help for a month. I just need help for a month. So my issue is, how can I put it? So I'm torn on both sides. On the one end, I'm assuming that this gentleman is sleeping with this girl. And while I don't tend to equate my body to finances, that just dangerously feels a little too much like prostitution to me. So while I don't do that, I do find it very interesting that there are some men who are okay bringing up what they're willing to spend before marriage, when technically a lot of us were raised that you're not supposed to have sex with people you're not married to. So I find it interesting that this brother is okay with her potentially going against whatever it is that she has been taught. But he's now making it clear that he's not willing to do the same. Now, hear me out before you give me drama. All I'm saying is you've been together for 6 months. Now, I completely understand him not letting her move in. I do get that. That should be a mutual decision. It should be one based off of, and to be honest, I feel like it should be one based off of both people deciding that they're ready to live together. I don't think a situation should force that, because that could completely destroy the relationship altogether. If y'all move in too soon, if you move in when one person is ready but one person isn't, like he made it clear. So there are going to be some people who have a problem with him, but if he knows himself, think about what he just potentially spared both of them from. So if he let her move in before he was ready to share his space, and we already know that people live differently, He now gonna be mad every time she put a toothbrush in the wrong spot. If she puts the toilet paper going under instead of over, and I don't know why y'all do under. That don't make sense, but that's just me. Every little thing she does that's different from the way he does it is going to plant a new seed of resentment to the point that he was going to blow up anyway. He knows him. If he's not ready, he's not obligated to get ready just because she is worried about a place to stay. At the same time, you can't say that you're my man. Know that I'm about to be in a position that you have seen disintegrate, because I'm sure I've talked to you about it. You can't then say, well, I don't want us to live together, but no, I'm not willing to pay your rent for a month. Now, that's where I have the issue. She didn't ask, can you just start paying my rent going forward? She asked, can you pay my rent for this month? For 1 month. And for him to not only tell her no, but to add insult to injury and say, well, no, but you can borrow $300. Borrow. Okay. So I need my rent paid. So why, if you could let me borrow $300, why won't you let me borrow what will actually help me with this bill? Because I don't recall her saying that, I want you to take care of my bills. She offered to pay half the bills if they moved in together. So there's some kind of cash flow coming in. She's just saying I'm in a tight spot. I can't say that I would date you if you can't get me out of a tight spot either. I'll be honest. Now, it'd be one thing if you don't have the money. If you're like, look, I'm just getting on my feet too. We haven't really talked about finances, but I'm getting on my feet too. And I really wish I could help you, but I just don't have it. But let's sit down and see if we can figure out how you can get it. That support would mean everything. Yeah, it would have taken a burden off of me if you had the money and said here. But if you don't and you're willing to still sit down and help me figure it out, that still means a lot. But to say, no, I'm not going to help you pay, I don't know, $1,400, $1,500 in rent is the average down here, I think. I'm not going to help you pay that, but I'll let you borrow $300. What the hell am I going to do with $300? And I got to pay it back? So I just find it interesting how some men are willing and seem to want women to do a whole lot. They want women to give a whole lot emotionally, physically, sexually. But when one that you have decided to commit to is in a real bond, that is when you start to show if you're willing to provide or not. And no, you don't have to provide as a boyfriend. You don't. You absolutely don't. But to decide that you not only don't want to live with this girl, but you also don't want to pay 1 month's rent, brother, just acknowledge that you broke or let her go, because I wouldn't be able to look at you the same either. I'm just saying. Wayne said he's all the way wrong, but he want that ass. That's my point. Guarantee you they having sex. But you can't pay for the woman you having sex with to have her rent paid for 1 month. She didn't ask for 3. She didn't ask for 6. She didn't say pay my car note too. She asked for 1 month's rent, and you now want to play the not unless I'm married. Okay, but I guarantee you, if she played not unless I'm married, you'd have problems. She needed his help, exactly. Xavier says, should you forgive gaslighting? I'll see if I can answer that one. If I can't, this one will be the one I start with next week. Dwayne says, and is it a fully committed relationship? He called her his girlfriend, so I'm assuming he didn't say baby mama. He didn't say side piece. He said girlfriend. If not, don't bring in finances on the dependency level. She should be cautious about moving in with a man she doesn't completely know. Hey, a crackhead can hide their addiction for 3 months. If she was my girl, I pull out all stops to help. I mean, that's all I'm saying. And like I said, he wasn't wrong for saying that he doesn't want to live with her, because that is a big step. And if both of you aren't ready, it's not going to work. But to say, no, I'm also not going to help you pay for 1 month's rent. Now, I kick you. You would never get a whiff of this again. Like ever. Ever. Kimon said, I agree. All right. So that was the first one I saw. All right, now let me show you the next one. Men, if DNA confirms the baby is not yours, it doesn't change the fact that you must take responsibility of the baby. Women go through a lot in marriage, and women deserve better. Now, it's jacked up. I'm going to try not to cuss, but with this one, I may drop a few. So those of you who are watching on speaker, you may want to find some headphones in the next 30 to 45 seconds. As fucked up as this is, my issue is that there were 491 people who liked it. So I just want to say this to my sisters. I am all for us supporting, encouraging, empowering, and uplifting each other. I am 100% for us learning how to speak life into one another, how to disconnect and unplug from all of these ridiculous, unrealistic expectations that society has put on us to always be a size 6, to bounce back from childbirth in 3 weeks, to always have our hair done, always have a flat stomach, and in one day be able to work out, work 8 hours, clean the kitchen, make dinner, take care of the kids by ourselves, and still feel like having sex for 4 hours every night. I am all for unplugging all that shit. Having said that, I don't think that the purpose of women's empowerment was to make us stupid. So I'm not sure where the stupid switch was turned on, but I want to figure out how the hell we can turn it off. I'm going to show this one more time. How in the entire fuck do you type something like this and then think it makes sense? DNA confirms that the baby is not yours. So you're basically telling me that you're now being caught lying. So you went out, got some random dick. Now you're pregnant. You spent all this time either you told the truth and said the baby might not be yours, or the brother is smart. And I'm just gonna have to say this, and women who don't agree, it is what it is. But I've seen too many brothers who get hit in the head. Brothers, if you have an ounce of doubt if the baby is yours, get the damn DNA test at birth. Save up for it. You got 9 months. Now, don't bring this crap to women that you know are not, the women that you know are for you. Don't do this coward shit just because you don't want to, you're looking for a loophole to not be responsible. Your loophole was the condom you refused to wear. So suck it up. But if you know, if y'all have a history of stepping out on each other, if you have a history of bringing other people into the relationship and you're not quite sure if she's still bringing everybody into your relationship or she has some excitement on the side, if you have anything that says that this is a potential situation where I could end up 18 years later finding out that this kid ain't mine, have the DNA test, swab that baby's mouth the minute it opens it up to cry so that you know for sure. You will have women who will be upset and offended. I'll be honest. I used to be one of those women because I don't cheat. And I am honest. And I don't do anything for any man to think that I'm doing anything else. So if a brother had asked me 15 years ago for a DNA test, I would have dropped his ass. Now that I see how child support works, now that I see how men end up in the negative the day they find out they got a damn baby and they can never get out of it, I would understand. You know what? It's a little fucked up that you think that of me, but that's fine. We can go ahead and get it done. I don't want to hear this shit again after you find out that I'm telling you what the hell this is, but I get it. So I need to understand where we get in the mindset, DNA confirms the baby is not yours. And I don't want to break down too much on science and biology, but please understand that there's only a brief period of time that a woman can even get pregnant every month. So you've had multiple dicks in a very short period of time, and you got the nerve to say if the baby turns out not to be yours, you're still supposed to take responsibility? On what fucking planet does that make sense? Like what stupid switch has been turned on in some of our heads where we feel like this is an okay fucking thing to do? I got a better idea. How about you stop fucking multiple people? Or being honest about the fact that you're fucking multiple people, or at least finding out which person you want to go raw with so that you're not raw dogging everybody. Like, it is your body, your choice. Do your thing. But to come up with some dumbass shit like this, women have it hard in marriage. If women have it hard in marriage, boo-boo, then why the fuck are you committing adultery? So one brother said, I do. You went out and cheated. Now you don't know who the baby's father is. You find out the baby is not by your husband, but you still think your husband is supposed to still take care of the baby because we have it hard? Bitch, please. And I hate that word, but it was so appropriate. Bitch, please. Like, no. Y'all gotta stop co-signing dumb shit. That is dumb shit. Let's see. Wayne says she a damn fool. She is a damn fool. Dwayne says she needs to watch Paternity Court. Tests are free at the hospital and at birth for free. Exactly. Brothers, get the damn test. If you got any ounce of doubt, get the damn test. I had a brother who broke it down to me, and I don't know if this is the law everywhere. He didn't find out until his son was 4. I think it was 4. He didn't find out that he even had a kid until his son was 4. The day he went to court, he ended up in arrears. Why? Because even though he didn't know about the son until 2 or 3 days beforehand, the court decided to backdate to when the baby was born. He started off in arrears. He started off with bad credit, issues getting a passport, all that stuff over some nonsense. Y'all, 85% of black men don't want to wear condoms during sex. Yet y'all make up 98% of the men being dragged to child support court. Y'all make up 98% of the people who are getting child support orders, having your check garnished, having your credit fucked up, everything. Y'all have got to do better. Stop doing dumb shit. If you have any doubt, get the damn test at delivery. I don't want to hear, you just gonna fuck up the whole moment of us having our baby and you gonna do blah, 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 whatever. Fuck up the moment so she doesn't fuck you over for 18 years. Please. Kimon says your husband should divorce your dumb ass behind it. Divorce. Women have it hard in marriage. Let me shut up. All right, let me move on to the next one. All right, this one, I'm just gonna read it. So with this one, this brother is actually sending a text to one of his friends. Bro, so Shay is talking about she want all the groomsmen to have a fade so everybody can look clean cut in the pictures and everything. The friend says, so what are you asking? You want me to cut my dreads, which I have been growing for 7 years, to be in the wedding? This fool comes back and says, yeah, bro, that's what she was saying. So I'm just going to... My brother, I don't know how red the flag needs to be for you to understand that this is not someone you should be marrying. I want you to understand what is happening. And this is for anybody. This isn't even just this situation. Some of y'all are letting women punk you. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you say you're in love with them, but please understand, the same way that we have to have boundaries, y'all need to have some boundaries too. It can't always be about who gives the best throat game. Y'all letting women completely run over you over shit like this. This heifer wants her brother, his friend, not hers. She wants his friend to cut off a process. And what people don't understand is growing dreadlocks is a process. I know you can get the faux ones. I know you can get the extensions. I get that. But those who choose to do it organically know that it is a process, not just in waiting for your hair to grow out. It's a process in growth. It's a process in patience. It's a process in spiritual connection. It is a very sacred thing. And this heifer is saying cut off 7 years of your process for 30 minutes in my damn wedding so the pictures look good. She ain't even the dumbass though. You know who the dumbass is? Robert. Because his dumbass actually typed those words into his phone and still press send. So if she is so controlling, if she is that much of a bridezilla, that she was okay trying to control your friend's hairstyle over one day, what the hell is she doing to you? What kind of hold does she have on you that you were even okay? And your brother tried to give you an out. He tried to give you an out. He said, she wants me to cut the dreads that I've had for 7 years for a wedding. He tried to give you an out, brother, and you still didn't catch it. You said, yep, that's what she's saying. And you're trying to sound apologetic. But if you still had any balls in your pants, that conversation would have never been had. You know what should have happened? You should have told Shay, this is my boy. He in the wedding. I don't give a damn about your little expectations for perfect haircuts. I want the people that support our marriage. So you're going to have to get up over this. And she going to get mad. And she can stay mad. But he going to be in that groomsman line in the photos, locks flowing. You were supposed to support your friend. I understand that you're getting ready to marry her. But marriage does not equal stupidity. It doesn't mean that you all of a sudden accept stupidity. This was dumb shit. Let me see what else we got. That's real shit you saying. You keep it as fucking real. Thank you, Wayne. She might be fucking up, man. Now that's a spin I didn't think about, but you know I ain't above it. I guess people could do it. But I wanted to stop and show those I wanted to show those 3 screenshots to give an idea, a glimpse into the mindsets that people are running into in the dating world. A lot of times we have people, you know, who will try to tell other people, well, you attract what you are, or people only do to you what you allow, or you have, you know, other stuff that sounds deep but is really completely wrong and stupid. You have people who say these things, and I want you to understand that while these people don't represent the full dating pool, these are some of the people that your friends are running into. So before you're quick to rattle off some statement that you've heard 5 million times to the point that you think is true, understand that sometimes they are running into dumbasses like this, who have mindsets like this, who have stupid switches that have been flipped on, and we need to try to figure out how to flip them off. Because this nonsense here, this is ridiculous. My sister, if you fucked around and got pregnant and you don't know who the father is, both of those men have the right to find out who is responsible for taking care of that son. You don't get to pick based off of who is making more money. Well, he makes more money. He has a better car. So that's who I want to be the father. Well, that's who you should have been fucking completely by yourself. You didn't do that. So now you get to let the universe decide. And they have every right to know sooner rather than later. My sister, you getting married does not give you authority over anyone else's hair, body, shoes, clothes, lifestyle. You are getting married. You're not creating a new world. You're not creating a new country. You are going to put on a dress. You're going to walk down an aisle and you are going to say vows. And the whole ceremony itself, at best, will take 25 to 30 minutes. So who the hell do you think you are to try to control someone else's process, spiritual growth over 30 minutes of your life? Like, I need you to really sit all the way the fuck down. And brothers, please stop telling us what you are not willing to do until you get married if you're still fucking her. Don't want to hear it. And if you can't help a woman that you're sleeping with out when you see that she's in a bind, why the hell does she need you? That's all I'm going to say about that. So let me see if we have any other comments. I don't think we have any more comments. So before I end this off, I was told to do this every single time, and I promised that I would. Please keep in mind that I am a relationship coach. It would be my honor to get you from where you are to where you want to be in dating, love, and relationships. And I'm available for coaching sessions, whether it's one-on-one, whether it's with your partner, or maybe if it's even in a group. Maybe two couples want to get together, or, the split costs or whatever. Please go to AllisonDenise.com, click on the Book Allison link, set up your appointment. It'll be my pleasure to work with you. And also remember, those of you who want to donate and support, I am on Cash App as well as PayPal. I am on Zelle, but I ask that you inbox me so that I can give you that information directly. If you are interested in Cash App, I have two. The first one I started off with 4 or 5 years ago, well, back in the day, was I am Allison Denise. That one is still available. The business one is now up and running. That one is Allison Denise, LLC. You can also find me on PayPal under Allison at AllisonDenise.com. Please feel free to send those donations. Everything is recycled right back into the business in terms of equipment, promotions, whatever. Okay? So until next week, thank you guys so much for sticking with me and staying with me. I truly appreciate it. Please continue to send those questions. Please continue to share. And if you think of something else that you want me to ask, I'll take care of it next week. All right? Peace.